Good evening and welcome to our Testimonial Tuesday for Tuesday, April 26, 2016. Oh my gosh, April's almost over. So hard to believe. My name is Vicki Drobness and I'm a Ruby Ambassador who is also a Diamond in qualification with Plexus Worldwide. And I'm coming to you from the lovely town of Dickson, Tennessee. And I am beyond thrilled to introduce you to my friend Robyn Moore, who is up in Vermont. And Robyn and I met at that event in Oklahoma that I've been talking about for the past few weeks because it's just made so much of an impact on me. Whenever we went to Oklahoma to go see Sonia Dudley and do her leadership training. And so this is my first time I gotten to meet Robyn, and how we hit it off. And she's just an amazing person, and she brings a different perspective to Plexus because of what she's done in her career that she's still working with. But she brings some different skills, and boy, she put those mad skills to use at our event with Sonia because she had everything organized. This woman was organized like nobody I've ever seen before. I'd love you to just send a little bit of that down this way. That'd be wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and do my little PowerPoint disclosure so that we make sure we remain compliant, because we want to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to that. Whoops, back there we go. All right, so this presentation is brought to you by Independent Plexus Ambassadors and is not sponsored by Plexus Worldwide. The Independent Plexus Ambassadors and Plexus Worldwide do not claim to cure, treat, or prevent any disease and take no responsibility for personal actions taken by any viewer. Plexus makes no guarantees or projections of income, as such representations may be misleading. Your success depends on your effort, commitments, skill, and leadership abilities, and how effectively you exercise those qualities. All inspirational testimonies and tips should not be considered medical or financial advice and are not representative of Plexus Worldwide. They are tips, inspiration, and motivation based solely on the personal results or opinions of the participants. All right, so as we go through and Robyn is sharing her thoughts with you, I want you to be thinking about who do you know that you can share this video with after we get it posted, because you may know somebody who is in a similar health situation, similar job situation, somebody who would really appreciate knowing about Plexus, because that's all we do. We just share. We share the information and people jump on board or they don't, and that's cool. But we believe that we have a product and a business that anybody can do, that anybody in the world could do. So I'm going to stop the share there, and I'm going to turn it over to Robyn, who is joining us, as I said, from Vermont. And Robyn, what city in Vermont are you in?
I live in Essex Junction, Vermont.
Okay, where is Essex Junction, Vermont near?
Let's see. Near that anyone would know because we're a nice little state. Probably it's easiest to say we're almost on the lake between Vermont and New York. Okay. And we're about 45 minutes south of the border of Canada.
Okay.
So we're well up there.
Yes, you are. You're very far north. So yes. Is it still kind of cool up that way, or is it starting to warm up?
No, it's cold. We had about 65 degrees on Friday, but it was back to 40s today. So
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's probably a lot warmer in Tennessee, huh?
It was about 82 today, so.
Yeah, so double.
Yeah, double the degrees, yes. So, hon, I want you to, I'm going to turn this over to you. Go ahead and share from your heart. Share what you learned during our weekend, what attracted you to Plexus, a little bit about your health, and just take it away. I'm going to mute myself so that you have the floor.
All right. Well, thank you, Vicki. I am so thrilled to be here today to talk with you and with your team about my story. Just a little bit more about myself. I'm in my late 40s, and I was a senior financial analyst for one of the top Fortune 500 companies for almost 25 years. And about a year ago, they sold our division of the company to a small private firm. And I'm still doing financial analysis for them, but now I'm working for a privately held company as opposed to a publicly traded company. And that's been a real big change, and that's going to be part of what I talk about a little bit later when I start talking to you about the business. But the first thing I really want to talk about was my health testimony. I've been plus size for almost 2 decades. And like a lot of folks, I tried many nutritional programs. And in my case, I always thought I was going to exercise my way to fitness. I have probably every piece of workout equipment ever invented, and I own every DVD and VHS of workout programs that are out there. And they run the gambit from insane to wonderful. But it just never stuck. My husband and I have very busy lives. We both are financial analysts in different fields. We have several avocations that are very important to us. We help run a nonprofit organization that benefits underserved rural children. And I'm a cheerleading coach. I've coached cheerleading and judged cheerleading and trained judges and trained coaches for 30 years. So we're very, very busy. And so we finally, a couple years ago, decided to focus on our nutrition. And we did really well in 2012. But then every time life got crazier, and for us, it just does stay crazy, we would yo-yo. And it'd be good for a while, and then we'd fall off the wagon, and it'd be good for a while, we'd fall off the wagon. And by December of 2014, I was the highest I had ever been as far as my weight, my husband as well. So we decided to recommit. We were going to stick to that nutritional program. We went the first 3 months of 2015, and it was just getting really hard again. Cravings were terrible. And I'm a long-time meat and potatoes kind of girl. Not a lot of vegetables in my life. And that tends to lead to a lot of carb and sugar cravings. And by March, I was back to a really bad Coca-Cola habit. I was 60 to 80 ounces of Coca-Cola a day. And that was the only liquid that I drank from, breakfast in the morning till, I would say, oh, it doesn't bother me. I drink Coca-Cola at 10:30 or 11 at night. I was just drinking an unbelievable amount of soda. And as I've said to a lot of people, not diet, high test, full on sugar load from that Coca-Cola, which then, as I've learned since, causes more cravings for carbs, more cravings for sugar. So it's not surprising that every time I fell off the wagon, it helped to keep me off the wagon. By that point, my friend Charlotte Seams had been posting about Plexus for about a year. She had been talking about how it was helping her and her family and her friends. And she finally put a post up about how it helped someone kick a soda habit. So I decided, after making 100% sure that there was a true money back guarantee, that I was going to give it a try. I figured I really had nothing to lose. So I ordered the Slim. It arrived, and really within 3 days, I didn't want a Coca-Cola anymore. At that point, I thought to myself, what is going on here? What is with this company? What is with these products? So I spent another several days researching gut health. I had read about that in some of the Plexus groups. I researched more blood sugar balance. My husband and I watched an amazing documentary called Fed Up, which is about the impacts of sugar and the standard American diet on all of our lives. It does focus a lot on children's lives. But for the two of us, it was clear what was going on. So I decided to take the big leap. I signed up as an ambassador only to get the wholesale pricing. I told Charlotte I was not working the business. I was buying for wholesale, which in my opinion was a brilliant decision, because with two of us taking Triplex, our welcome pack was less expensive by more than the $34.95 than buying as a preferred customer. So we just decided that that made financial sense. Pay less every single month, be a wholesale customer. And I have to tell you, we had amazing success. Across about a 6-month time period, between the two of us, we've lost what my sister likes to refer to as one Backstreet Boy between the two of us. So we are certainly wearing smaller clothes. And then we've maintained that loss for, another 6 or 7 months at this point. We have more work to do, but we are so thrilled with how the products have helped us with weight loss. But then there's some other wonderful side effects that have happened as well. Despite the job I have, the busy, stressful job I have, I was not making it through the whole day. As a matter of fact, I'd started working at home so that I could nap during my lunch hour. And, not too long after I started taking Triplex, the naps went away. I'm one of those people who experienced several times a month, that kind of situation that affects your vision. You have to get in a dark room. It's got to be really quiet. And that stopped happening. And after, 30 some years of that happening once or twice a month, having that relief in my life has been unbelievable. So I certainly have been thrilled with the products. But again, I really didn't think I was going to work the business. That wasn't my intent. But the timing is such that I started about 3 months after I started the products, I started working for this new company. A lot of stress associated with that. Being involved in a Fortune 500 company gives you a lot of security. Being involved in a much, much smaller company in the industry that I'm in is a little precarious. And I thought maybe I needed a plan B, just in case maybe I could get to the point where I could retire early and not have to work another 25 years as a financial analyst. And when I thought about our avocations, the things that we love, they all involve helping people, whether it's helping the rural children of Vermont or whether it's helping cheerleading coaches and their teams. So the idea of working a business where I was going to be able to help people get healthy, where I could help people find their own financial freedom, that really appealed to me. But of course, the accountant in my head, the financial analyst in my head, said, you don't leap into any kind of decision like that without doing tons of research. I don't know if anyone's read the 4-color book of the 4 colors of MLM. It's a great book. And although I personally think I have little bits of all those things, I am green, green, green at the heart of it. As Vicki mentioned earlier, organization and research, that's kind of probably my main trait. So I started doing some research a couple months after I started the products. Network marketing had never entered my realm as a possibility for a career. My mother's bought Avon for my whole life. I think she hosted a Tupperware party in the 70s one time, but that's it. I had no good or bad experiences, no family stories about network marketing, so I didn't know a lot about it. The first thing that I thought was amazing was that I think of the $34.95 as access to wholesale pricing, which to me means I'm getting a turnkey business for free. I mean, not literally, but whether you call that $34.95 your joining fee or your annual website fee, or you think of it the way I do, which is it's my access to wholesale prices, then the business doesn't cost me anything. Part of what I do for the manufacturing company I work for is analyze the cost of doing business, the entire cost of our facility. And we're about a $1.5 billion manufacturing facility. So I know what it costs for product development, what it costs for manufacturing, what it costs to do warehousing, what it costs to do pick, pack, and ship, and how many people you do that. And the thought that I had access to a business for myself for $34.95 was just amazing. That math is unbelievable. And especially dealing with the finances of, a pretty sizable company, I just couldn't believe it. So off the top, that was the first thing that really made me think, maybe we've got something pretty special here. And not just for me, but for everyone that I might share it with, or everyone you might share it with. And then the next thing I did was spend a lot of time with the Plexus compensation plan. I found the plan to be very attractive. And one of the big reasons for me was actually the way you get paid for your downline via points. I'd seen several companies' plans after I started researching where everyone gets paid on their downline's sales. So you're getting 20% of this level and 15% of the level below that and 10% of the level below that. And in my opinion, that encourages sponsors to have to say to their downlines, sell, sell, sell. And what I loved about the Plexus compensation plan was that it's more focused on be a product of the product. have $100 a month PV. That's a triplex for an individual. And you are qualified to get commissions if your friends and family, if people you know order from your website. But if not, you're a full member of the program at that 100 PV. And if you get people in your downline, they are full members of your downline for 100 PV for using the products. And to me, that was a brilliant, brilliant change from a lot of other network marketing companies, because I was already hesitant about the idea of selling. I love the idea of sharing something that's working for me. But then to have to feel like I was pressuring people who might join my team to sell, that was a big plus for Plexus versus some of the others I read. Again, not that I knew this until I started researching Plexus, but that made a big difference for me. And then the one other aspect of our plan is that there's not a huge focus on exactly balanced legs underneath you. And in many companies, it feels like you spend all of this energy making sure the right person joins in the right place. And if they're not exactly balanced, you don't get paid. And you might be putting in an excessive amount of work and then not get paid. So I thought that the Plexus plan was extremely fair to the ambassadors. And that excited me as well. Of course, given my background, none of that was going to matter if I didn't think Plexus was financially stable. Was it a good company? You know, as I started researching network marketing, I learned that thousands of network marketing companies come and go within the first 12 to 24 months. So for me, Plexus was already 6 years old or so when I started. So first of all, I felt that we were past the point where if there was any of that less stability at the beginning, that was already gone. We were already past that. And then I started looking at the revenue numbers, because that's what financial analysts do. So seeing that Plexus went from less than 1 million of revenue in 2010 to over 310 million of revenue in 2014 was unbelievable. In 2014, Plexus was ranked 8th on the Inc. 5000 list of the top revenue growth companies that were privately owned in the United States. And my new company is one of those privately held companies in the United States. So to see Plexus at 8 on that list when I was about to join a privately held company was flabbergasting. Seeing that their revenue growth over the 3 years before 2014 was 16,458% was a number most people won't be able to get their head around. That's just huge. And then not only that, but Plexus makes the list the next year. And that's another 3 years of sustained growth. That's just unbelievable. So to be on that list 2 years in a row said to me, this is a company that's serious about its growth. This is a company that's now several years old and stable and focused on growing. And that made me think this is going to be a good opportunity. A couple of other things that really struck me, the CEO, the president, the whole executive team really focuses on being debt-free. And that's unusual. There's very, very few businesses that can really, truly have enough cash flow to be debt-free. And having that as kind of a core focus point for them made me really respect the business aspect of our leadership team. And, trying to maintain that position while building a 70,000 square foot headquarters is pretty impressive. So I think that says a lot about what the executives are trying to do for the company. And then last but not least, what I really was impressed by was something that happened last summer. And it showed me just how much integrity this company has. Plexus introduced a new product last May, and shortly after it came out, some very knowledgeable ambassadors had some concerns about the capsule, the actual, what was encapsulating the product. And Plexus listened to them, pulled the product, completely reformulated, and re-released it couple months later. That off the top is impressive, but more impressive is me thinking about them throwing away all of that product that was already in the warehouse, that was already available for sale. Now, I'm telling you that I work in a company where we manufacture very small things that go in your phones, your cars, your airplanes, your computers, and we have parts that have been sitting around for a decade that no one will throw away because maybe someday someone will buy it. They just don't throw things away. Companies don't throw things away. So to me, that decision alone said to me that besides all the great business sense, that this company had an awful lot of integrity. And I'm sure there have been a whole bunch of other people talk about the different wonderful ways that this company is impressive and has great integrity. But that happening last summer, right as I was starting to look at the business, was something that was truly impressive to me. So those are kind of the business aspects. And so then it became a matter of me really learning about network marketing and moving this forward as a business. And what I decided was that in this space, I had a lot of personal development to do. I've had an extremely successful career in financial analysis, but this whole arena of working with people and not numbers, sharing and communicating and meeting new people and getting out there was something that I needed to work on. And the opportunity to go out to Oklahoma City for Sonia Dudley's training was something that I just didn't want to miss. I am so blessed that I took the time and was able to go out and first of all meet all of you, which was fantastic. A whole bunch of people on my team, a bunch of my sidelines, which was wonderful. But from Sonia's event, I think the biggest takeaway that I got was that if there's something holding you back, if for some reason, whatever it is you're attempting to maneuver, that it's just not clicking for you, that maybe you should think about whether there's some fear involved. Is it fear that's holding you back? And I know not everyone's comfortable with the idea of thinking about what they might be afraid of. But in my case, what it came down to is that I'm very nervous about embarrassing my family. I have a mother who is in politics. I had a father who was in politics before her. My father worked for 31 years for the same company that I did until last July. And so I was very nervous about this. My mother, when we go out to networking events, which happen a lot in politics, I go with her. My dad is no longer with us, so I'm often with her. And she introduces me as a senior financial analyst and she's so proud, and she talks about that. So the idea of making a major career change to something very different is something that makes me afraid. And so I'm working on trying to focus through the fear formula that Sonia gave us to try to work through this. And, that fear formula that she talked about was, the first goal is to identify it. So I'm there. And the second goal is to write it down so that it's it's permanent. It can't float away if you've written it down. And then to replace it, to start thinking about those kinds of positive thoughts you can have and say to yourself to give you a new focus that combats that fear, that focuses you on the positive instead of the negative, and then repeat it. I'm still in the midst of that. I'm still in my repetition mode, and I'm getting better slowly at reaching out to folks. But that was probably, the single biggest takeaway that I had from that, and it's helping me. But as I said, I knew I had a lot of personal development to do. So that's about what I had.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, so much information. I've got like 3 pages of notes. I have to piggyback on what you talked about with the product, and I'll go ahead and share with people that was the Mega X. was that when they came out with Mega X, and were you there at convention?
I was not, because I was still brand new.
Okay. So I was there at convention and they came out with it. And so those of us who are crunchy mamas, we take a look at one of the ingredients on there and they were like, whoa, okay, how are we going to do this? But we also knew that Plexus would make it right. This was just something that they, not sure where the issue came up, but anyway, I do know they were trying to make it a vegan capsule because there are people that don't want gelatin capsules. They're either trying to be vegan or they're trying to be kosher, and that's a concern. So that this was a way of doing that. But it was an ingredient that has been shown to cause some inflammation, and particularly gut inflammation, which is a kind of counter to what we are promoting. So within, I want to say it may have even been before the end of convention, they had already come out and said that they would pull the product and reformulate it and release it later. And like you said, that was just huge to me that they listened to us. Right. Because it could have been very easily, like you said, we've made this, we're going to have to get rid of it. And I do think that they did allow for a certain period of time, if you wanted to get it, you could. But just the idea that, okay, after this time, we're cutting it off. So that to me was very, I was just very impressed with that. I had really high B12 levels by the time I was vegan. And so vegans typically don't have high B12 because it's not usually in vegetables. It's something you usually get from meats or you have to supplement it. And I was not supplementing it. But what the issue was is my body wasn't absorbing it. It's circulating, but it's not being absorbed because I was exhausted all the time. So anyway, but I did not know there were many different forms of these B vitamins. That there are forms that are essentially, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't pretend to have this exactly right, but essentially it's kind of thinking like, it's almost like pre-digested. It's something that your body can go ahead and use easily versus something that is going to take your body an extra step to process it. So we put together some information and sent it to product development and just said, we would like to suggest that you consider changing this in order to meet the needs, and explain why we thought that. And so we get to Leaders Retreat, and that was in DC, wonderful trip. So we're sitting there, and they announced that they had changed the formula on the X Factor to be that type of B vitamin that was better absorbed. There was also an issue with the vitamin E in it to be a more bioavailable form, and that would be ready by the end of October. And Robyn, I sat there and cried because I thought, I've never worked with a company and I used to be in education, I've never worked with where they heard you, right, listened and made a difference. And we all see the stories, and I lived it. The education, they don't listen to the teachers, the ones that are on the front lines. Yeah. And typically in a lot of businesses, they don't listen to the people that are dealing on the front lines. It's always because you can get caught up in the numbers and like you mentioned. And that to me just spoke volumes, like you said, about the integrity of the company.
Yeah, I just have been continually impressed. Continually impressed with Plexus's focus on doing it right. Mm-hmm. And if there's a little bit of an issue, they make it right.
Right. And even recently with the back office conversion. And that's something that has gone on a little longer than we had hoped it would. It's always difficult whenever, my husband works in IT, so it's always difficult whenever you have any type of computer conversion. And I have since heard of another company that is a vitamin company. It's not a network marketing company, but it's a vitamin company that's very well known, and they've had some computer and changeover conversions and stuff, and their products are not on shelves anymore because of the changeover. So that's not something that Plexus ever went through, where we were, I think the only thing that we were ever out of was the 96. There was a little bit of time when there was such a demand on it.
Right.
But it was never because of a computer issue type thing. So this past, I think it was either Thursday or Friday of last week, Plexus sent out a long email that said, okay, these are things that are still not working the way we want to. Here is how we're going to fix it. This is what we're committed to. Dates to where they were committed to doing this. Hiring, 100 new customer service reps to handle it because the hold times have been so long. So for any of you who are watching who are either ambassadors or are customers and you've had to call in to Plexus and it's taken a long time to get through, number one, know that they are doing their absolute best to get this fixed and figure out what's to do this, and that they're committed to making it right. That's the reason why they'll have these 15% off sales or free shipping or something like that, and that takes a hit on a customer's or on a bottom line.
Well, it's a direct hit to the revenue because the product volume doesn't change when they offer those discounts.
Right.
So they're still committed to paying the ambassadors the 50% of the product volume, which means they're taking a hit straight to the company's gross profit.
Yes. And so that makes a big difference on that, and the shipping. If they're that, I know my order usually costs between around $4 to $5 in shipping, and you do that by millions of dollars of orders.
Right.
That's a big hit to a company that is committed to remaining debt free, but they will do that in order to keep the people happy. Right. And so that speaks volumes to what type of people we have in our leadership that will make sure that things are done the right way, or they'll find a way to make sure that things are done the right way. And it's been amazing to watch and to still, whatever you call in, that they are pleasant. I've yet to talk to any customer service rep who must be feeling frustrated, just human nature, feeling frustrated, but they're always pleasant. And that just means a whole lot to any time you're calling in.
I agree. And I've had some personal issues in some other arenas lately, and talked to customer service reps from some other companies, and the difference in the attitude that you receive is night and day. With how wonderful our customer service reps are. And the reality is, when the hold times have been a little bit long, it means they're on the phone with somebody else, right? So these folks are 12 hours a day on the phone with so many people. I can't say enough about how wonderfully they treat us when we do talk to them.
Oh yes, and the other thing that I would say that during this time, whereas you would think that this would be hitting us in a bottom line type thing, or sales, that people would be getting discouraged, we've had some of the most incredible sales, the most ambassadors to rank up to a jewel level in March. That ended up being, I think that was a record of that. We're close to 100 diamonds in the company. And the people were growing their teams and their businesses despite all of this. Right. And not letting that get in their way, and not using that as an excuse as to, well, I'll get back into it whenever they've gotten things back together, and not doing that. And that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Because that shows a strong belief in the company and in the products, because our products work and our products are making a difference. And there's not this huge line, it's 15 products that make a huge difference in how you feel. And I know I can't imagine my life without them.
No, we can't either. We are just so thrilled by how we feel that, we're Plexus for life.
Yes, we'll peak for life. Yes. Any last words? Say somebody has stumbled onto this video, or and they're thinking about doing Plexus as either starting as a customer, starting as an ambassador. From a business standpoint, and then also from your experience, what advice would you give them?
I would say that I've come to realize that network marketing is a wonderful opportunity. Mm-hmm. However, network marketing has a little bit of a reputation of being a get-rich-quick scheme. And I guess what I'd say to folks with Plexus is we have wonderful products that work. We have a wonderful company, but network marketing is still work. It's still a job. And it may take some time to get that ball rolling, to get that momentum going. I heard someone say that the only thing that all the diamonds have in common is that they didn't quit.
Yes.
And so I would say to people that I think it's worth it to keep working the business. And I think I'm a great example. I'm a senior ambassador. You know, I have 2 ambassadors under me. I've been technically with the company for 13 months. It's not going to stop me. I'm around. I'm staying. Sooner or later, my daily posts, my reaching out to people, the momentum will begin. And if it takes me 3, 4, 5 years to build a business that replaces my 25-year career, that's only 3, 4, 5 years.
Yes.
So I say to folks, it's a great opportunity, but be prepared to stick with it for the long haul.
Yes. And that's something that even some of the jewels who have gotten there fairly quickly, they went into it with the idea of, I'm thinking of specifically Jen Hawkins, went into the idea of, okay, I'm going to go for emerald, and if I get the emerald in 5 years, I'll be happy. Or my main thing is just looking for, an extra couple of $100 to where I can, so I can stay at home. There was a certain number of dollars, I want to say, she said it was doing like $500 and $1,000 to where she could afford to stay home versus going to work and be able to be there with her kids. And so with something like that, it's totally doable. It's can be where it gets you just a little spending money. It can be where it gets you to where it covers your products. So where you're getting great products for free. Or it can do what it's done for me, which is replace a full-time income. Because I was laid off from a job about 3 months before I found Plexus, and right when my severance was running out. So this has been, it didn't immediately replace it, but it gave me enough to keep going with that, and then to be able to help people to reach their dreams. That's been one of the most fun parts of it, is to see other people building their own businesses.
Right.
And the perks, okay, the Lexus, the trip to Hawaii, all like that, I'm certainly not going to turn those down. But the best perks of this have been friends like you and meeting people that I would have never met any other reason except for Plexus. And that we feel like, we've been like family for years. We had a great slumber party there.
We did. I said to someone the other day, there's nothing like a slumber party for 2 nights to get to know some women really well.
Yeah, and there was no backbiting, and it was all about how we can help each other. I've never worked with a company or a school to where there wasn't some jealousy or something like that to where it got in the way. It was like, how can we help you? Like Robyn mentioned, we're not even really on the same team. I mean, we're not within the same line. We're sidelines. We're sisters. But she doesn't benefit financially from doing this from me. I don't benefit financially from her doing this from me. It's not that way.
Right.
It's what we call one Plexus, and it means that we help each other out, and it doesn't matter on what team it is.
Yeah, and that's one of the other great things about the company that I didn't mention, but the way the compensation plan works, the better everyone does, the better everyone does.
Yes.
So it doesn't encourage that competition that some compensation plans do. So one Plexus is just an amazing way to describe it. We are one team, one big team.
Yes, and it does. It makes so much of a difference to know that you can help somebody and not feel like you're hurting yourself, because you're not. And that part is amazing. It's amazing. So, Robyn, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to share this. I can't wait to get it posted. There's so much good information, and especially for anybody who wants to know about it from having, come from another, corporate background or something like that, to know how a person who analyzes numbers would look at it.
Right.
Because it makes a difference into how that this is not only an emotional decision, because you do need to have passion about what you do, and
Absolutely.
you've got to believe in it.
Yes.
But to where you feel like the numbers make sense as well.
Right. The business makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the emotional part is we all feel amazing, and we just want our friends and family and people we know to feel amazing.
Exactly. That's what it is. A lot of people think that, you're trying to sell them something. It's like, no, I just want you to feel this good.
Exactly.
I felt bad for so many years, and my doctor used to call me the healthiest sick person that he knew, because all my numbers weren't normal, and that it didn't make any sense. We had a hard time trying to figure out what the problem was, and even when we found a solution, we weren't getting down to the root cause. And once I started with Plexus and we found that root cause, it was amazing how quickly I started feeling better. And
that's fantastic.
It is. It's so much fun. And to just share with just the idea of we have a product that almost everybody in the world could use at least one of our products.
I agree. Yeah.
And even if they are super healthy, they would still benefit from our products.
Yes. Yeah.
So, anyway, Robyn, I know that it is getting late up that way, so I will let you go so that you can get a good night's rest. But thank you so much for being part of this tonight.
You're welcome.
And I will get it posted and have it send you a link.
Okay, great. Vicki, thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I will say good night to everybody, and go Plexus.
Go Plexus.